Hello again. On behalf of Firefly Ministry, I'd like to give you a preview of this week's message by Pastor Shelton. Why do we see things so differently from each other? What leads us to form our opinions or our worldview? Everyone sees things differently. That's because our opinions are being formed by filtering them through all of the information that we've stored from our past. Basically, things go into our brains where they're filtered by our experiences and then come out as opinions. The way we see things is based on everything that we've experienced from the time we were born until this very moment. If you received a lot of love as a child, you will see the world one way. But if you encountered abuse, you will no doubt see the world very differently. Information is taken into our brains by our senses, our hearing, our seeing, and our feeling. And that's where the opinions and worldviews are formed. Now, we've all heard about the two people who might view this glass of water very differently. They will see it as either being half empty or half full. Of course, that's because our life experiences determine how we see things. And then there's the matter of perspective. Things don't always look the same because we arrive at this very moment from very different directions. And then there's the limitations of our needs. Sometimes we form our opinions based on our circumstances and our needs of the moment. Now, when it comes to understanding the plan of salvation from God's perspective and what redemption really cost and everything that it involved, we have to remember we're limited because we're human. It's kind of like the old story of the four blind men trying to describe an elephant to each other. Each one could only express what they experienced, the small part of the big picture, or in this case, the big animal. We have to remember that we come to God at a particular moment in history and are part of a plan of salvation that was formed long before the earth was created. It was God who said, "For I am God, and there is no other. I am God, there is none like me," declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things that are not yet done. But even though we recognize our limitations, that doesn't mean we're left helpless and doomed. I think of the counsel God gave Samuel when he was looking for the next king of Israel. He told him not to look at his appearance or his physical stature, because I have refused him. And this is the key part. For the Lord does not see as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. God's perspective takes everything into account. Pastor Shelton's message this week is entitled Differing Perspectives. You know, when we study the Bible, our perspective of history changes. It's no longer time and events passing through the prism of humanity, but rather the infinite expression of God's love that has engaged the entire universe in the struggle for our salvation. Why don't you plan on joining us either in the sanctuary or on the internet this week for the pastor's message, Differing Perspectives. And until Sabbath morning, have a blessed week.